All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Marlie's Corner. As usual, we're coming to you live from the paw.com offices. My name is David Gimmis, founder, CEO here at paw.com. And of course, this is the famous Marlie, our chief product tester, my dog, and our best buddy here at paw.com. Thank you for joining in to Marlie's Corner. If this is your first time watching, this is an inside look into all things paw.com, the people, pets, and everything that is involved in what makes this company and our area here in our office so fun. And we're just doing this to share it with you guys at home. This year, of course, it's a new year. This week we have an awesome guest. Her name is Andrea. She is a New York illustrator and visual creator. She does amazing portraits of all sorts of pets, and we are lucky enough to have her at our 2019 launch party in New York, where she attended and did some great illustrations of the people who came in with their pets. So without further ado, we'll get Andrea. Sorry, I'm having trouble here. We have an Andrea in the office. And I'm kind of working back and forth. I know it's pronounced differently, but we'll get her on here and maybe she'll clear it up for me. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
Good, thank you. I'm so sorry if I said your name wrong.
Okay, it's Andrea.
Andrea.
Yeah.
Of course. I mentioned we have an Andrea in the office, so it's just my mind is like...
Totally fine. I'm used to it.
Awesome. Well, Andrea, thank you so much for joining us today. It's really good to see you again.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm trying to put this camera in some place that it's like I cannot figure it out, but it's okay. There's fun. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I'm also I try to get myself, but more importantly, Marlie in the video.
My dogs are too lazy to come. They're sleeping right now.
She probably wishes she could do the same.
That's so fun.
It's really good to see you again. I told everybody in the video before we had you that we were lucky enough to have you at our launch party last year in New York City. I still have my painting that you did at home, and I know a lot of people enjoyed everything you did there. But for those watching, maybe you can just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. I really had a good time in the launching party last year. It was awesome. I love all the beds. We still have one of those beds.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we love it. I love the brand. It's awesome. So I'm an illustrator, a visual designer. I'm from Venezuela, but I live in New York City since almost 5 years ago, and I started working with illustration and design when I was 19. So that was like maybe 8 years ago. Yeah, so I love dogs. Basically, all what I do is pet related. So I work with different brands, doing like different partnerships and doing events with them, and do classes of how to paint your dog or how to paint your cat. So it's a lot of fun. I love what I do.
Yeah, no, that's great. And it definitely came through at the launch party. I saw how much fun you had from it, and I'm sure it's half of the reason is seeing the enjoyment people get when you hand them their painting. What is it about animals? I was curious. What is it about animals that you enjoy?
Well, I've definitely liked to bring joy with my art. That's always has been the case, that I like to bring things that people feel related with, and I like to bring a little bit of, even like 1 second smile when they're scrolling and they see something that brings them joy. But especially about dogs, more than just animals, but dogs, I just love their different personalities and like all the different perks that they have. And that's usually what I try to bring when I'm doing my artwork. It's just each dog is so different to any other dog. Like they all have that special little thing that you might not even realize, but then when you are doing art with them, you're like, okay, look at this little detail that your dog is doing. That's just so cute.
Yeah.
Like, have something special.
And I know most pet parents, there's like one distinct feature on their dog that they can recognize, and it's like if you can get that into your illustration, it makes it feel very personal, right?
Yeah, sometimes it's me the one who realized it. I'm like, oh, your dog has this little white spot there. I'm like, oh my God, I never saw that. I'm like, yeah. But there's a lot of times pet parents will ask me for that. They're like, oh, I like how the ear like does this movement when he does this. Can you draw that? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. But like they will require like the weird thing. But I know because I'm a dog mom that's so special. Like I know what I like about my dogs.
Right. And
Yeah.
do you think being a pet parent yourself, that inspires you to kind of work with animals? I'm sure that
Wait,
has a lot to do
but
with it.
I couldn't hear that good. I have
I'm
like,
saying being a pet parent yourself, I'm sure that inspires you to want to work with more pets and dogs,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So like, obviously, the first dog I ever drew was my dog Toby.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was like dog number one, and then definitely just like my day-to-day relationship with him, and now with my new dog Sherlock, like that really just definitely inspired me of like what I do every day as content, or like my relationship with dogs in general.
That's great. And what would you consider your art style?
Yeah, so that's a tricky question for me because I don't know like specifically if I would say like, oh, this is my art style. So I'm an illustrator, right? I'm not a painter. Like I don't do like realism or anything like that. I just draw what I see and I have my own style, and it's something that I just develop myself through the years. I'm not trained as an artist. Like I graduated in college as a civil engineer, so something completely different of what I do.
Uh,
But everything I do, I basically just learn it myself and develop my style myself. But it's illustration, and it's basically just the world, but through my eyes. That's how
that's
I,
fantastic.
yeah.
Wow, that's quite a change. How did that happen? The shift from civil engineering to
Yeah.
pet illustrator.
So I start illustrating, like my first gig as an illustrator was when I was still in college. So I actually never worked as a civil engineer. Like once I started getting like gigs as an illustrator, I was like, wait, I kind of like this more. Like
Yeah,
doing this. So once I got graduated, I already had a lot of clients. So like I never even work on it. I got graduated as a civil engineer, what I really appreciate because my business side and my logic side, like I was trained for do that. So that's good for me on my business right now.
hmm
But yeah, it would happen just naturally. I mean, most of my friends are artists, so they kind of brought me to that world and like introduced me to people, and I started getting clients, and I was like, this is what I want to do. And then I just started learning myself on how to do it.
that's fantastic. Do you have like a certain? I was thinking because I'm sure you do all sorts of different pieces of art. Do you have one certain type or piece of art? If somebody asks you to do this, that it's your absolute favorite?
I have a drawing of my dog that I did for myself that is my favorite, and it's in my office. I could actually walk there and show you guys.
Yeah, let's have a look.
That one is like my favorite thing I've done, and it's a watch illustration. What is not usually what I offer to anybody.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Yeah, so it might be, it might look a little bit sillier than the rest that I do, but it's just so special because I don't offer that to anybody, that style or that.
I think you were just yeah. I think you were just holding your mic.
Oh, oh, okay, maybe this better.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
sounds good.
I'm just saying that it might look silly, but to me, it's so special because I don't offer that kind of illustration to anybody.
No, it looks, and that's Toby.
Yeah, that's my dog Toby, who I don't know where he is even.
Yeah, can we meet them?
Let's call them.
All right, let's
See
try to
where they
find them.
are. Toby, Sherlock.
They got to get some
Here.
air
All right,
time.
here they are. Here's
All right.
one. Here's
Hey,
Sherlock.
hey.
This is our new guy. He is 11 months. His birthday is actually a day after mine. We're about to be birthday family.
Oh,
And then
gorgeous.
here, Toby, come here. Oh, he doesn't want to come out. It is. This
Hey,
is Toby,
Toby.
who is the
There's
love
the
of my
star.
life. So
Very cute.
Toby is 10 years old. He is almost 11, and he is just the love of my life. And he behaves like he's a puppy, as you can see.
Wow, that's fantastic. And they get along great?
Yeah, it was a challenge at the beginning, but they're doing good now. we have a really great trainer, Karishma. She asked her for like certain things, and we got them to love each other. So now they even snuggle together. What's great.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah, I've been thinking for a long time to get Marley a brother and sister. So I love seeing that, having the two pets or more in one household. I think it's always
Now
nice.
he's there. Yeah, I mean, it was a challenge because Toby is a terrier, and he behaves like a terrier. So he's like very like, this is my space, nobody touch me. And then also he has been with me since he's 2 months. So he even moved from Venezuela with me here. So
Wow.
he was used to be the most spoiled dog and just alone. So Sherlock has been a challenge, but Sherlock is so sweet, as all Weimaraners are. Like,
Yeah.
Weimaraners are just awesome. So he really tries to be like, he loves Toby, so he will always try to be like close to him and things like that. But we cannot teach him to like give him his space when he needs that. So now they like each other. They snuggle, so that's good.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. It must be really good for the both of them.
Yeah.
I forgot to add, as I'm sure our viewers saw below at the pinned comment, but please leave a question for Andrea below, and we'll go through those, and we're gonna, as usual, choose one question to win our $50 gift card. And I think, Jeff, do you have some questions lined up?
Yeah, we do. First of all, thank you to everyone who's been posting some really nice comments about the paw.com products. We really appreciate that. And Andrea, you have a lot of fans who are watching today, a lot of comments about people who absolutely love your art. So they're very excited. One of the questions I have from the Wool Bear Report, such a natural talent. Other than dogs, what is your favorite thing to illustrate?
So I do children's books. So I honestly like to draw everything. So I enjoy drawing people. I enjoy to draw people's personalities too. It's a little bit harder than with dogs because people actually can complain and dogs can't. So they're like, oh, that doesn't look like me. I'm like, yeah, it does in my mind. But I also like to illustrate raccoons because raccoons are my favorite animal. So I have a lot of raccoons going on all around my office, and like basically all my Christmas tree, we realize it's just like all raccoons ornaments. I'm just obsessed with raccoons. So yeah, that's that.
That's funny.
That's great. Having heard your story, Pack of Blairs asks, what's your best advice for someone who's switching careers?
Well, the only example I can give you, it's mine, right? So from like a science career to arts, I would just say just trust, just trust yourself and believe in what you do. And you're always gonna find people who likes what you do and people who does not like what you do, and that's totally fine. Like, there is obviously tons of people who are like, see my drawings and they're like, oh, I don't really get it, and that's fine. Like, you just believe in yourself and keep doing it. Be constant. If you're starting on social media, just be as constant as you can, and then try to give people things. Like, I don't have anything against give people things. Like, my first project was a dog that keeps the stress away, where I painted a dog each day of the year, and it was honestly just to bring people joy. Like, wasn't, I didn't sell it, I didn't do anything like that. I would just get people requests and do it, if I feel that the story was worth it, or if I like the dog because he had like a really different thing, I would just do it. Like, just bring people happiness with what I do.
Great advice.
A few people have asked if you have a favorite breed of dog to illustrate.
It comes from time to time. Like, sometimes I will be like, Dachshunds are my favorite. And then I'm like, no, actually Griffons are my favorite. So like each year I will have like a couple of breeds that I just cannot stop. I think one of my last, I actually posted on Instagram because you can tell that I'm obsessed with that breed because I all the time do a post of just that breed. So like my last one was Pekineses. So I was like, oh my God, Pekineses are just the cutest in the world. So I just like start illustrating just Pekineses. But definitely, I mean, those won't come like time to time, but definitely just my dog Toby. He's absolutely in everything I do. Yeah.
Great. Ranger Paw asks, how long does it take you to do an illustration?
It depends. It depends how complex it is. It depends how many details I'm gonna put on it. If you watch me on Twitch, we actually just beat the record. We did 33 dogs in an hour.
Wow.
So
Yeah, and I remember when at the launch party we had a lot of dogs show up, right? And I was so surprised and impressed by, even though these illustrations you didn't have as much time because we were pressed, to try to get as many dogs, but they came out so wonderful. They were so detailed, and it was really impressive how many you could do, but they still looked fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, it honestly, it depends of how, how many details we put. I like the watercolors. I usually say I can make 7 nice watercolors in an hour, just like my time. Yeah. But yeah, honestly, it always depends on how many details they have. But when you're drawing dogs, there is tricks that you can get. Once the more that you do it, the more that you get. Like, okay, so the most important, when you see the dog, like, okay, for this dog, the most important part is the way he sits. Like, the way he sits is so special. Like, if I get that, then it will look like that dog, if that makes sense. So like, there's different little things that if you get that, then it looks like him.
Stanley's the Punchy asks, what's your favorite illustration you've ever done?
Oh, I just show it.
The Toby picture.
The one that you showed?
Yeah, I just show it. It's the Watch Toby picture I have on my office.
It's in the Hall of Fame, right up there.
Well, Creme de la Creme Frenchies, who's been a guest on this show, asked, is there a breed that is the most difficult to draw or paint?
Not a breed itself, but I would say brindle dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
brindle
Marlie?
Dogs. Yeah, like Marley, but like when they have even more yellow, and like since she's it's a Frenchie, is a little bit easier to get. But yeah, like brindle mixed dogs, a little bit harder to get. Like you have to really get the color right to make them look like them.
Diorabel, another former guest on the show, asked, is it difficult to illustrate fluffy pets that have a lot of fur?
No, I love fluffy pets. Actually, those are the easier ones. The fluffier, the easiest, I say.
How about pets that are dressed up in costume? Because Diorabel would pertain in that one.
It depends of the costume, right? If they have a lot of stuff, it gets a little bit harder to like put all the little details and things. But if it's just like one bandana or like a t-shirt that is like just like stripes, that's easy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Life with Louie 1025 asks, what animal is your weakness to draw? So is there something when someone asks you to draw, you say, oh, I don't want to do that?
Humans. No, I'm like I like humans.
Yeah.
No, I think for a while I had a hard time with cats, but I'm getting better with them. The most I draw, the better they get. But also I would say when they ask me to draw like turtles, a little bit hard, if that makes sense.
Turtles?
Yeah, when people is like, can you put my turtle? I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, okay, I guess. But if they have just like this, just one expression, it's so hard to get them personalities.
I actually have a question. Speaking on that, I was just wondering, is there like the most exotic or most unusual animal that anyone's ever asked you to illustrate?
In live illustration, one time in PetCon, I got a lizard.
A lizard?
Yeah. It was like, can you do a portrait of my lizards? There were actually 2. And then lady with like 2 lizards on her head. I'm like, okay, I guess I would try it. Let's do first lizard ever. So yeah, that's that one. And then a lot of birds. I get like just like a dog, and then can you put this bird on his head and things like that. Yeah.
Bunch of questions, but we're not going to be able to get to them all. But Hot Senior Pups asks, my George turns 15 tomorrow. How old is the oldest dog you've ever drawn?
Oldest dog I ever draw, I think it was actually like 17. And he was also on a PetCon.
In PetCon.
Yeah. And he was the dog in like in a stroller, like just sitting and like, can you draw my dog? He's 17. I'm like, yeah, I can. I love senior
So
dogs. They're
I
so fun.
think we got time for one more.
Do one more.
One more.
Okay. Monty and Zusi ask, what is the largest art piece you've ever made?
Okay, so largest into that it got blew up to be big. Not that I drew it big. I had a billboard with the farmer's dog, and that was just gigantic. I looked like miniature next to me to the billboard. It was just like a whole building. So
That
that's
must be
the.
so cool to see.
Or I went every weekend. I had a full-time job by then. I don't have a full-time job now. I just work with my stuff. But it was like 2 years ago. I had a full-time job by then, and I will travel to Williamsburg. I live in Upper West Side. I will travel to Williamsburg every weekend just to see my artwork in the billboard.
That's fantastic.
Like
No,
I was
that's
just obsessed
great.
with it. So that's the biggest one I had. But if that I painted, I would just say just like an actual like canvas. But I don't do that a lot.
Awesome. Well, Marlie's tired. As you can see, she
Left.
left me already.
Yeah. Oh my
She's like,
goodness.
I'm done for here today. But Andrea, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
You have an Instagram or somewhere that people can go and check you
Yeah.
out?
Yeah. So you guys can, see it here on the chat on the top. My Instagram is Andrea Ca. G. Also on TikTok. I'm also on Twitch. I do a lot of things. So if you guys follow me, you can see everything I do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Check her out. Very talented illustrator. We are so happy to have you at our last launch party. Hopefully we can connect again in the future. But for now, thank you for coming.
Awesome.
And
Thank
I
you
hope
so
you
much.
have a great Friday and the rest of your weekend.
Thank you so much. You too. Thank you for inviting me.
All right. Have a good one. Thank you.
Bye.
Signing out for this week from Marlie's Corner. She's already signed out. Look at that. Thank you, guys. Have yourselves a good weekend. See you later.